Good morning. It is Cassie from Fade In Fade Out LLC and the Four Owls Healing Oasis in Dalton, Wisconsin. And I am getting started here today with a tarot reading straight from the shop. I am going to be reading some playing cards today, and I will be reading through these individually. And then, if needed, at the end, I will be pulling an oracle card or oracle cards for clarification. If you haven't watched these before, I do read for myself, but as a part of my journey, when I feel it's relevant, I do share these messages as well, because we can always learn and grow from each other. So here we are. Thank you for being here, and we're going to see what comes out today. Once again, only messages for the highest good are welcome in this time and space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What do I most need to hear today for my highest good? Harming none. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go ahead and get three more, please. Three more cards. Three more cards. And one more, please. One more. One more card. Only messages for the highest good are welcome in this time and space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Is this it? One more card, please. One more card. One more card. All right. We're getting jumpy now. All right, we're going to try again. One more card, please. One more card. This deck is really, there it is. There it is. Okay. All right, we're going to get started here. So the first card that popped out here, I have the Seven of Clubs in reverse. This is much better lighting. You guys can actually see the cards. All right, so if we look at this card, we have a beautiful egg, and there's a bird sort of hatching out of this egg, and this is in reverse. It is the Seven of Clubs. The first imagery that came to mind to me at this moment is like the shaking of the dice here and rolling out the dice, like lucky sevens rolling out the dice. This is in reverse. So if we're thinking about rolling the dice in terms of a bird hatching out of an egg, and we think about what the reversal of a bird hatching out of the egg would be, I feel that there may be a little bit of restraint here in terms of coming out into the open, in terms of shaking up the dice, in terms of breaking out of this shell. So this bird is like standing upright. This bird has its beak out, but it can't see anything. The most of its body is still contained within this shell. Because this is in reverse, I feel that the process of hatching is somewhat on hold. The process of shaking the dice is somewhat on hold. The process of completely cracking out of this shell is somewhat on hold. The next card here is the Queen of Clubs. So this is the same suit as the bird hatching out of the shell. So we have here, and actually this could be read reverse or upright in either situation. It's the same either way. So we have a queen here and a pie in the center, and we have like some kind of creature, like I don't think that's a mouse. I'm not really sure what that creature is that's licking off of the spoon. I remember pulling this card one of the first times that I pulled from this deck. So we have a queen here who really is connected to the intricate matters of life. She knows how to make a very wonderful pie. She likely knows how to sew and knit. She's like a homemaker, right? And we have this like Weasel that just came through. This is a Weasel, right? So this weasel is licking off of the spoon. Weasels are known to be kind of tricky animals, right? They're kind of mischievous. Weaseling around is a term, weaseling around is coming through. So if you are a queen, or if you know somebody in your life who is a queen like this, who is like a homemaker, who knows how to really take care of the matters of the home, but maybe has like a weasel hanging around, it might be a good idea for you, if this is you, to identify this weasel so that you can so that you can take care of your home properly. I feel that home here, weaseling out, just came through too. Home is this shell, right? When we get really comfortable in life, we tend to maybe kind of hold ourselves inside, right? We find a home in which we feel very comfortable, and we keep ourselves in it, maybe hesitate from completely breaking out of our shells at certain points. Weaseling out is coming through here. So 2 messages. Number 1, if somebody is weaseling around in your life and licking off of your spoon and maybe not contributing or not sharing, there might be a need to have a conversation about that. If you are a queen who really enjoys taking care of home matters, make sure that you're not maybe becoming a little bit too comfortable in the way that you are maybe becoming a little bit aloof to the outside world. Don't get too caught up in doing this, taking care of home matters, that you're not, willing to kind of step outside of your shell at certain points. And a third message that's coming through here, because these are connected by the suits, right? So you're wearing, this is like your coat of armor. It's coming through because this is a queen. So there's an empire here, and there's a coat of armor, or a code of conduct. A code of conduct that is being maybe sort of upheld right now. So if you're feeling a little uncomfortable about stepping outside of this shell, about maybe going against the grain a little bit, maybe stepping away from this role a little bit, and letting the weasel out, getting out and weaseling around, literally. And maybe you need to become the weasel. Maybe there's not a weasel in your life, but in fact you need to be the weasel, and maybe go find some sweetness in life. All right. Interesting so far. All right, the next card here, this kind of caught me off guard when I saw this. So now we have the Queen of Hearts in reverse. So if we look at this queen here in the upright position, just so that you can get a better look at her, she's a very beautiful woman. She's surrounded by these feathers. She is got her sights set on something very clear. She's very well adorned. These feathers are falling around her. This is a very different energy from this one, right? This Queen of Clubs, this reminds me of like the Queen of Pentacles, right? She's very focused on earthly, worldly matters. This woman is a little bit more maybe creative and artsy, possibly focused on intuitively things instead of, she's more focused on her intuition than she is maybe on the real world a little bit. She's got these feathers falling around her, which I feel is really significant. It's like, I feel like these represent divine inspiration and divine timing. Now, this is in reverse. The Queen of Hearts is in reverse. So, why would the Queen of Hearts be in reverse? Possibly because there has been this holding the self back, this sort of restriction, this sort of being stuck in this homemaker mode, and maybe not enough creative expression, maybe not enough energy being put into following intuition and having your sights set on something different. This queen is looking directly at you. She cares about you maybe a little bit more than she cares about herself. This woman is looking in a different direction. So there's a situation here where somebody's feeling held back, possibly by domestic matters, possibly by home life. Somebody's feeling like they would like to get out of their shell a little bit, but they're holding themselves back, or maybe not fully following their intuition. They have their sights set on something. She has her sights set on something here, but this is in reverse. So there's a pause here. There's a moment of not moving forward. There's a restriction here. And the restriction is not, let me clarify this, the restriction is not something that is outside of the self. This is self-imposed restriction here. Okay. The next card here is the Joker. This is in the upright position. So we have here a very beautiful spider holding onto a moth in the middle of a web. I talked about this card, I'm pretty sure, the last time I did a reading with these cards. And this is a predator-prey situation, right? So we have the spider hanging onto the moth. The spider has created this web in which to catch prey like the moth. This spider depends on the moth for its survival, or it depends on its prey for its survival. It creates this web as a form of safety, security, and stability to provide for itself so that it is well fed and well nourished. It also uses this web to lay eggs. Not all spiders, do it that way, but if we think about the web represents home, right? So I feel that this individual who's been feeling sort of holding themselves back, maybe really concerned with home matters and maybe holding themselves back from creative expression, divine inspiration, this individual is also the spider who is works very intricately, puts focus on creating this home. This home is the web. And the web is not just a source of safety, security, and stability, but it is also a place of creative expression, if you will. So the web itself is a form of creative expression. Creating in terms of reproducing is a form of creative expression. And I feel that creative expression, though, when it comes to home life, when it comes to being, a mom, a wife, or a husband, a father, this doesn't just have to relate to women, even though we have queens here. Whoever this is about, this individual has been very focused on creating a sense of safety, security, and stability for themselves in terms of creating a web for themselves, and has been sort of hanging on to prey here. And now prey in this situation, I feel, represents the idea of what is desired from this home, this web that has been created. So this moth represents the desire. It's not necessarily prey. It is the desire. It is what is wanted, and the spider is hanging onto it here. Now, I know for myself, because this reading is for me, there's only so much that can be gained from creative expression in the home life. There is a need to look outside of the home life to creatively express the self. And now if we look at this card, it's a very beautiful card. There is a lot of creative expression going on here in the artwork here. The artwork is a form of creative expression, and I think that in terms of needing the desire here, I think, is creative expression. But somebody's been possibly sort of holding themselves back from this divine inspiration, from fully coming out of their shell, being very focused on home matters, home life, taking care of everyone else. But the truth of the matter here is that this spider can stay in its web, its whole lifetime. But it doesn't really get out and explore, right? The life of a spider can be very exciting and exhilarating if we really think about it, creating new webs and moving around. And I think what's really coming through here with these feathers falling away and this card in reverse here, and this shell needing to be broken open and needing to shake the dice or break things up, or maybe even literally take a risk breaking this web down and creating a new web, is possibly recommended here to follow this desire, not hang on to it so tightly by being stuck in this web, but instead creating a new web in which this divine inspiration can fully flow to you and stick to your new web. Interesting. Okay. Ooh, I just shook you up. Shaking up the dice. Here is the next card. We have the Nine of Spades in reverse. This is an interesting card to me. We have a sort of log here, And we have these, like, I see these as mushrooms growing off of this log. This would be the upright position. And this would be the reverse position. When I look at this card, I see getting rooted, getting grounded. I see setting your roots firmly into the ground. These mushrooms or these tendrils are pointed downwards towards the earth, and I feel that in the reverse position, this is not necessarily like, this is not growth in reverse. This is growth in terms of getting grounded. And when we talk about getting grounded in terms of finding our desire and chasing our desire and creating webs so that we can catch our desire, maybe possibly breaking down walls or creating new environments through which we can follow our creative expression. Being deeply rooted and deeply grounded is very highly recommended here. Very highly recommended and beneficial. So if we think about a tree or any plant really for that matter, the root structure, if this is a healthy plant, the root structure is generally just as large as the canopy or the outer stretches of the plant, right? So you have the stem or the trunk of the tree, you have the root system, which is quite large underneath the ground. Even though you can't see it, it's quite large underneath the ground. But what you can see is the beautiful canopy on top of the trunk. And so the larger the canopy, the larger the root system here. Now, these are just kind of baby tendrils. They're really just kind of starting to make their way downward into the earth. They're really just starting to grow up or grow down, so to say, and get their footing here. And I think this fully represents you or this person in this situation who has been needing to break out of this shell and create a new web. Not chasing desire, but attracting what they desire, and not shooing it away, right? There's a need to shake the dice up here and to get firmly planted in the ground here where you are to create this new reality. And the final card here is very interesting. So we have the 8 of Diamonds. If we look at this card, we see a house with red windows. This is in the middle of winter. It's a cold environment outside. This house is alive. If you look at it, it's kind of curved. It almost looks as though the house itself is the living being here. This red inside to me represents that life force. And I feel intuitively that this is about finding that inner flame. When we think about home and what home feels like, home should feel warm and inviting, and it should feel like we are safe and protected. It should feel that we are nurtured, and we should also be able to be free to be our true selves. This home, I feel in this card, represents that idea. It's got this beautiful red glow coming from it, representing that warmth inside. This environment outside is quite cold, right? But the home itself is warm, and I think the home in this situation directly relates to the self and being at home in your body, because that really is the only home that you really ever truly have. You know, we can have all these possessions and desires, and you know, we can create these environments through which we can take care of others and ourselves. You know, we can buy homes, we can have apartments. We can have all of these things outside of our bodies that help us to feel safe and secure. But if we are not feeling safe and secure and at home in our own bodies, in our own minds, in our own hearts, then we're really not ever truly at home. And I think that this is really truly about finding that inner flame again, and finding that desire, and really coming out of your shell and attracting these desires to you, getting your feet planted firmly in the ground, and getting really, really comfortable with who you are in the present moment. All right, we are going to see if there's anything else that needs to come through in this time and space for the highest good, harming none. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, only messages for the highest good are welcome in this time and space. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What else do I need to hear today for my highest good, harming none? Ooh, that is, yeah, 3 that kind of flew out here. Ooh. Interesting, we have another moth. But we're going to start with the first one here. So we have the ladybug and the sweet pea. Happiness. This is in the reverse. Symbols of good luck and fortune. Ladybugs are wonderful insects known to keep garden pests like aphids at bay. The sweet pea is a beautiful scented climber. In the Victorian era, sweet peas were given to thank hosts for a lovely time. Combined, the ladybug and sweet pea represent ease and happiness. In the reverse position, beware of taking on too much. You may feel you have things under control, but the balance is delicate. Honor your limits to preserve a happy outlook. Now that's very interesting. The first thing that I think about is this Queen of Pentacles trying to take care of everything and kind of boxing herself in. The question for this card is, how do I invite more joy into my life? We were asking that question a minute ago as well. Very interesting. Okay, next card. Not sure if you guys can see that, but the lights are flickering right now, so that's cool. All right. This is a very interesting card here. I'm getting some chills right now. So we have this moth, this desire, right? Okay. So here we have the moth and the eucalyptus. The moth and the eucalyptus is at number 13 for a reason. It mirrors the meaning of the death card in a traditional tarot deck. The death card rarely indicates literal death, but rather marks an ending of some kind and provides us with the knowledge and power to let go. The moth shown here is the death head hawk moth, named for the unique skull-like marking on its back. The death's head is nocturnal, and like all moths, it flies towards the light. Eucalyptus is a symbol of protection, as the oil from this plant can be used to guard against and soothe a variety of ailments. An ending is imminent. This could mean the end of a relationship, a hobby or interest, a job, or any number of other things. While endings sometimes mark loss, they don't always, and even if we do experience grief, we have the power to emerge from it with a better understanding of ourselves. That makes sense, because in order to break out of our shell and build a new web, we do have to, eliminate a certain amount of existing situations, feelings, people, ideas, all kinds of different things. All right, the final card here is the boar and the pumpkin. Okay. With their winding vines and winding vines and a large heavily seeded fruit, pumpkins signify abundance, health, and resilience. Meanwhile, the fierce An intelligent boar is known for its sharp tusks and aggressive movements. Combined, the boar and pumpkin embody self-assurance. Your confidence is well-founded. Any insults or attempts to damage your morale will roll off your back. You are thick-skinned like the pumpkin and courageous like the boar. Interesting. What accomplishments am I proud of? How can I improve my confidence and sense of worth? This is about being comfortable in your own skin, regardless of where you are and whatever temporary circumstances you find yourself in. They will come around, whatever situation you may find yourself in that is ending, beginning, whatever the case may be, or both at the same time. And not putting too heavy a weight on yourself to do things that don't make you feel at home. I think that is the main message here. If you're doing things to create a sense of home but you don't feel at home within yourself, well then what is the point? Because you're really not at home then. The first project for any of us in terms of creating home is to find home in our own hearts. And I think that is what I am being asked to do, and I am working on that every day. And if anybody else resonates with that, think about that for a while. Are you at home in your own heart? And if you're not, how can you get there? All right, thank you so much for watching, guys. We will see you next time.